Hey, what's up, dude? Check out the new axe. Pretty good looking guitar, huh? Not too shabby. Mahogany body. Mahogany neck. It is a maple cap with a very thin veneer. That's how the top is a veneer. I'm convinced at this point. And it seems to be constructed with two pieces of mahogany split right there. And then that goes down and ends around here, down in here. Actually, I think it comes at an angle. Like here, like over to here. Right? Like right about there. It's a little off center. And then they veneer the back to make it look good. Even though it's clearly mahogany, they cover the split up. There's a little under the finish, imperfections and dents. It happens. You can check that out. If you haven't figured it out by now, this is a Chinese replica Les Paul Standard. Pretty nice guitar, although it showed up in pretty rough shape. Needed a lot of work. This whole thing, that would have been impossible. There's no way. I could have never done that. Everything from the 5th fret down was dead because the neck was backbowed. It had a hump. Had a mighty hump. So needed to loosen the truss rod, and when I took the plate off to loosen the truss rod, there was nothing underneath it, just black. So that would explain the hump. With no options other than to look underneath what was black. I didn't know what was going on. So all the other ones had truss rods. I went in there with an awl, and there was a tiny pinhole in the center of the black, and I was hoping maybe that was like the top of the wrench, and they just sort of filled it in, and that little pinhole represented like the hex head. I just had to scrape all the paint out. So I put the awl in, and I started to swirl, and boom, it came off all in one piece. It was masking tape. They just never took the masking tape off. And underneath it was a gleaming, truss rod. Worked just fine. I loosened it a couple of quarter turns and let it sit a couple of days. That got rid of the hump, but it was still a little too straight. Another quarter turn, let it sit for a couple of days. Restrung it with 10s, and then perfect, Now everything below, fine. So, the intonation was way out. It's actually still a little out. This guitar really could use a new nut. If you're looking for a fake, always look for that. The scarf joint, I call it the Asian cut because so many guitars out of the Far East have this style headstock attachment. My Ibanez from 24 years ago had that identical cut. It still works fine. In fact, those Ibanezes never really broke at the scarf joint. They broke where it was so thin where the nut went on. someone would eventually tighten that nut down too tight, and they'd crack it, right? They'd crack the headstock. I used to see that all the time at the music store. People come in with that cracked nut. They're like, I was just adjusting it. It's like, don't, just leave it alone. Leave it alone. But anyway, this is it. Rosewood. This wood is without a doubt mahogany. The cap wood is what we believe to be maple. It's lighter and whiter than the rest of the body, and it is very hard to dent, right? So we're leaning towards maple. I know basswood is a lot softer. And then this top is a veneer. Everything we can tell. I have a tiny crack right here that shows me it's a veneer, I think. And then on the on another one I have, it sort of feathers down, and you can see that it's not quite to the edge, and you can see that tiny little veneer. It's hard to find, but it looks to me like it's about a 1 mil veneer. And that's it. This guitar is exactly the way I received it. I didn't change anything. It's got those little like top hat knobs, and I'd say the pots feel a little smoother than the other ones. The other ones are very slow, kind of like going through molasses. These are more like speed knobs, much faster. So anyway, that's this guitar, and I'm running through my favorite software, TH2 by Overloud, and I'm using the Randall T2 head, which is a heavy. I have it. That's in crunch mode. That's not in their lead mode. This is the. Of course, I have the volume down a little bit. There it is, all the way up. I mean, for crunch mode, it just doesn't sing for very long. Right, there's the difference. If I change that to lead mode, I think it gets a little bit more compression in it. A little nicer. I mean, again, TH2 sort of making, even these sort of Chinese pickups, sound pretty good. These pickups actually have a decent sound to them. The problem is that they're not potted. And, wax potting them, it takes time. I've heard other people use other materials to pot them, and I've been curious to check that out. I'll probably check into that and see what's working out there for non-wax potting. I can't remember the material, but there's definitely some stuff out there that can be used other than wax. I'd be curious to check it out, because wax potting is the only thing left to make this thing a perfect guitar to go out and jam with and play live with or whatever. If it gets broke or stolen, it was under $300 delivered. The guitar itself was $200. So anyway, that's it. Just a quick video to show you this guitar. Nice full-bodied tone, Really loving TH2. I am loving this software. Again, just put an MP3 player in it. I got a laptop hooked up, and this laptop is so old. I think it's like from 1999. Like, space, 1999. Sounded so futuristic at the time, but now it's sounding really old. So it's an old Compact Armada M300, and it's so old. I had to run. I put what is that? Puppy Linux, and which runs pretty fast, but I don't know what's going on. Every time I plug the cord in, I can literally hear the processor through the cable. So as I move the mouse around, it goes like, as it picks up interference. I don't know. So I doubt that's the driver. So I need some way to get some music playing, so I can play along with it. Warm up here. It's not clean. it's a great sounding guitar. Just be warned, when you get these, you know, they're probably going to need some work. This one needed a lot of work to get it going. It still needs work. I probably need to put a slightly longer throw bridge on it. You know, there's a great video out there of how the guy turns an agile. He's like, you know, when you get these agile guitars, and he shows how he replaces the nut with an Nirvana nut, and he puts a you know, wider throw bridge on it and all this, and he replaces the pickups and the electronic. I mean, he's pretty much doing to that what you should do to one of these if you really want to make it into a decent instrument. Like I said, this guitar here is exactly the way it showed up from the factory. So I mean, it's not bad. Alright guys, till next time. And next time I'll have a different guitar. Alright. See you then, guys. Later.